Greetings, viewers. We are pleased to have public speaker, sleep hypnosis workshop facilitator, and author Sarah Janes. Welcome, Sarah.
So much for having me, Judy. It's a pleasure to be here.
Great. We're so happy to have you here. Could you please explain what lucid dreaming is for our audience?
People have varying ideas about lucid dreaming. Scientifically, it is recognized as a unique state of consciousness, and it seems to have features, blended features of wakefulness and dreaming simultaneously. So for most people, they experience it as a dream in which they are aware of the fact that they're dreaming. They remember who and where they are in a dream. And it often is accompanied by feelings of bliss or ecstasy as well, which is one of the things I'm really interested in.
Could you please explain what sleep hypnosis is?
I practice a kind of specific type of sleep hypnosis that I've developed over the last few years working in the actual holistic sanctuaries of Asclepius. So I take people to Greece to sleep in the actual Encumeterion, the place where they incubated for divine dreams with the dream healer god Asclepius. And so I've kind of developed something which is the aim of it is to expand the hypnagogic experience, because one of the ideas about what people were experiencing in these ancient sleep temples is that they were undergoing something like a kind of hypnodelic process. They were being hypnotized. They were having their hypnagogic experiences that were probably facilitated through things like opium fumigation and certain narcotic substances as well, to have their kind of imagination and their hypnagogic experiences seeded with ideas of visions of the god, visions of sacred serpents, things like this.
What led you to your interest in sleep temples?
When I had lost my experience of lucid dreaming for a while, when I had my daughter, I started to run a lecture series down here, like a literary salon or a sort of philosophical salon, because before that, I'd been a gig promoter. I was promoting American bands, but having a small baby, I didn't want to do really late nights. I also was very curious to learn more about all sorts of things. I've always been interested in philosophy and thinking, ancient religions, ancient cultures.
On your website, you offer retreats. You have 2 in autumn 2024 and 1 in spring of 2025. Could you please talk us through some of these offerings?
So I have moved to a little village called Archaea Epidavros in the Peloponnese in Greece in the last few months. My work now is leading retreats in the area where I live, because Epidavros is home to the famous healing sanctuary of Asclepius. And this is a massive holistic healing sanctuary that was super popular and attracted pilgrims from all over the Hellenic world. I have a retreat in September where we'll be focusing on the greater mysteries of Elefsis, the Eleusinian mysteries. And I have a guest tour guide for this experience called Maria Maragou, who is an amazing researcher. She was actually educated as a chemical engineer, but she has kind of made the mysteries her main focus. And she wrote probably like the most in-depth tome on the subject. She wrote a book called The Mysteries of Elefsina, but it's only been published in Greek so far. And she's just finished an English translation. And she did a tour for us of the Sanctuary of Demeter and Kore for my last retreat, and she's incredible. Her main focus is like deep etymological analysis of the words of the mystery language. And in that way, she has this kind of multi-dimensional understanding of the rites and rituals that actually occurred there. And she really kind of gets it. She's my mystagogue, she acts as hierophantus for my guests, because she understands these things and communicate these things in a way that is just amazing. So in September, I'm running a 7-day retreat, but on the 22nd of September, the autumn equinox, we're going to meet her at Keramakos Cemetery, which is where the Sacred Gate was, which is where the Sacred Way starts in Athens, where pilgrims, initiates, would have walked the 22 miles to the sanctuary to be initiated. And so we're going to go on that journey with her. We're going to stop off at all of the shrines that were associated, that we knew the initiates stopped off at, and we're going to find out about the rites that they performed at each way. And then she's going to give us a tour of the site as well. So that's one of the things. But one of the things I also do is I take the retreat guests to the Sanctuary of Asclepius. We sleep in the actual sleep temple, and we incubate dreams, and we visit some of the other sites that are associated with particularly oracles and healing. The one I'm doing next year, I'm really excited about this one because I've just announced it. I'm working with Gary Lachman, who's a very well-known author of books on occult personalities, esoteric spiritual systems. He actually was the bass player in Blondie, and he wrote "I Am Always Touched by Your Presence, Dear." But he's amazing. I've known Gary for years, and he's coming with us in May, and we're going to go to the Oracle of Delphi and the Oracle of Trophonius, and then spend the rest of the time in Epidavros. But that is going to be 7 days where we're exclusively focused on trying to have precognitive dreams and trying to dream in these oracular shrines.
You have written a wonderful book called Initiation into Dream Mysteries. How can reading this book help heal us through the practice and ritual of dreaming?
This book was really a study of any evidence that there might be for dream ritual, dream culture, for oracular and healing purposes in the ancient world. So it starts off in kind of ancient Anatolia. But one of the things that I've always read a lot of novels, and one of the things that I really wanted to incorporate into it was something that could engage the imagination, because I think that I've read some neuroscience studies that show that if you read a novel, you create new neural pathways, new neural connectivity that wasn't there before, that on some level you've imaginally lived the story that you're reading about, and it's something that doesn't really happen if you're writing non-fiction. So I wanted to incorporate some fiction elements to act in a way a little bit like Jodorowsky's idea of psychomagic, that you engage your emotions with a story, or you engage your feelings with a story, and it can have a cathartic, useful effect. So once I'd written a section, so it's done chronologically, looking at the sort of most ancient times to the most recent. And every time I'd finished my research and I'd written a section on a particular culture, I incubated with the information that I had about that particular culture, with the images, with the symbols, with the ideas. And then whatever dream came up from that was a dream that was set in that time period where I experienced these things. And so I tried to make those things into stories, into short narrative experiences, so that the reader would get some contextual sense of being and feeling what it would have been like in those days.
Please explain to us, what is conscious dream life?
Well, I think that being aware of yourself in a dream can be really useful, because one of the reasons people often come to my dream retreats, or come to my dream hypnosis sessions, is they have issues with not sleeping enough, not remembering their dreams. They could have a dependency on marijuana, for example, which suppresses REM sleep, and same for antidepressants. And when you have these substances that suppress REM sleep, or for whatever reason you aren't having dreaming sleep, you can end up stuck in a rut. Like, dreams and dream processing and the kind of emotional psychological work is self-therapy. And so dreams can often help you get out of repetitive thinking, or being stuck in a rut, or not knowing what decisions to make. We can have real aha eureka moments in dreams that I think are super useful. And I think there's something that's really fantastic about the sort of inspiration that we receive in dreams. It's why my chosen deity and muse is Mnemosyne, because she's the goddess of remembrance, of divine remembrance. And for me, because she's the mother of all of the muses, she's a mother of sense-making, eloquence, and eruditeness, and she was invoked as one of the final rituals by pilgrims visiting sleep temples often. And it was because they wanted the muse, the mother of all of the muses, to come to them in a dream and allow them to remember that they're dreaming, so that they are aware of the dream. And if you look at the Orphic hymn to Mnemosyne, it speaks of staying alert, staying awake and aware within the dream to what's happening, so that you don't forget things.
In the end, you state that you hope that through dreams, you can form a better understanding of who you are. What else do you want people to take away from this book?
I think how enriching dreams can be. You know, they're very, very life enriching. They add an incredible dimension to the experience of life. You know, this was my main takeaway from losing the ability to lucid dream for a while when I had a young baby. My life just felt flat, and dreaming, fantastic dreaming, gives your life this kind of richness, this complexity, this joy and ecstasy, because this is another thing as well. Lucidity is associated with these feelings of ecstasy and bliss, and that was something that I'd always experienced. And it does release you to some degree as well of a fear of death, because you have this experience of transcendence.
We'd like to thank you, Sarah, for being on the show, and we hope to see you soon.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Initiation into Dream Mysteries, Drinking from the Pool of Metamosiny can be purchased at all fine booksellers or at destinybooks.com. For more information on Sarah's work, please visit themysteries.org.